Hello.
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 Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
I'm a little drunk.
Good. That's
Awesome.
what we like it.
I just had a bunch of rosé with Paget and Ciara from Below Deck Sailing.
We know. We logged in a little bit and watched it.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. But that was like 2 hours ago, so you had a lot of rosé.
No. Well, that wasn't 2 hours ago. It just ended. I've been drinking for the last 2 hours.
There it is. Thank you. We're fresh. That's good.
And
No
I'm
problem.
still drinking, so it's fine.
Okay. Thank you for doing this. First of all, you are the best. A couple of
Yay.
questions before we start, just so you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Do you want this just to be an audio podcast, or can we do a screenshot of this, or what do you care about?
I care about nothing. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, that's the best answer I've ever heard. Thank you so much. And then the other thing I had to ask you or tell you, what's happening over there?
I'm trying to figure out where to put my phone down.
Get that lighting.
Amazing.
I need to get my best lighting. I'm still in my workout stuff from this morning.
Civvies. Good. We love it.
Yeah.
And then we will do a little, blurb opening, and then we'll just, talk for 30, 40 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with. And if there's anything for you that is off limits, tell us. I don't want to answer that question.
Nothing.
But we won't do that because we're really kind, so you'll be fine.
I also I have no qualms talking about anything because
all right now.
I like it.
yeah,
then
I don't
Your
care.
favorite
I
guest.
didn't do anything bad, and also I'm an open book. I will just put my opinion out there. I do not care.
Great. We love it.
Love it.
We appreciate it so much. All right, Jonathan, anything else I'm missing?
Nope. At the very end, if you don't mind, we'll go live on Facebook for a minute just to tease that we interviewed you, and then we'll cut. So
Cool. What is my back? What is this back?
we see San Francisco.
You're in San Francisco.
Did you guys do this? How do I change it?
No, ma'am. Your
Wait,
virtual
really?
if you go to virtual background, it should be next to your camera. There you go.
Oh, so I can put anything.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
Can I put a picture of myself?
Mm-hmm. It's pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
I also like that you were at your upper lip on that right there.
She's living her best life. That's all that matters.
This is so funny. Wait, I have to find more. Should I put a below deck picture?
No, we do not care. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'm just gonna look a little bit more to see if there's something else that's better.
We are about as low maintenance as you are, so this is going to be the match made in heaven.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Let me just find maybe I can find a picture of me in the galley or something.
I mean, the one you got behind you is pretty.
Or
good.
you know what? Fuck it. I'm just
Very official.
All right,
Okay.
we're gonna start with our little intro, and then we'll kick questions to you.
Okay, perfect.
Go for it, Liz.
Welcome to Carolina Coffee Talk, where we drink the coffee and spill the tea from the greatest town on earth, Wake Forest, North Carolina, and from around the world.
Carolina Coffee Talk is brought to you by Kaleidoscope Realty, providing one-on-one home buying help from start to finish. If you'd like to be a sponsor, shoot us an email at info@carolinacoffeetalk.com or like us on Facebook or Instagram at Carolina Coffee Talk.
I'm Liz.
And I'm Jonathan.
Jonathan, today is Monday, May 18th, 2020. We are here with our new friend, Anastasia Surmava. Am I saying it right?
Woo! Yes, you are.
Excited. She was on this show called Below Deck Med that we loved. She is philanthropic and cares about everybody more than she cares about herself based on her recent efforts with the Restaurant Relief Fund. And she is with us today. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is great. I'm
So,
all liquored up now.
You just
so
got
I'm
off
ready
of
to talk.
you just got off of a 2-hour Instagram live.
Yeah, I did.
That's crazy. That's marathon. Tell us about that.
Okay, I didn't even think it would go for that long, but we just had so many fun things to talk about. So I was on Instagram Live with Paget and Ciara from Below Deck Sailing, just answering fan questions. We played Two Truths and a Lie, and just pretty much had a very open, fun conversation about yachting and life and, relationships and stuff like that. So it's this little Insta Live show I've just started doing. They're my first guests. I'm calling it Spill the Rosé, just like you just said, spill the tea, but
That's good.
Spill the rosé, because that's all pretty much yachties drink, and espresso martinis.
Well, this
So
is special because we were here for the inaugural of that. We both
yeah,
watched it, and now you're on our
exactly.
show. So maybe in like a couple weeks or so, when you get more shows done, we can come back and reevaluate.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited. I never had such a great, like positive feedback from other people, and the fans love it. They love how people specifically comment on how much they love that I like interact and I, actually respond to people.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes like Bravo Lebs and stuff kind of get like ahead of themselves and think like they're so great that they can't respond to people. I'm like, honey, you would be no one if it wasn't for the people that watched reality TV. Like,
Yeah.
We would agree.
you know what I mean? Like, it's fine. So it's fun to interact with the fans. Like, they're the whole reason why you even have any of this like stardom that you have. So like, you gotta interact and you gotta have fun. And there's so many kooky people out there. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, you also had a kind of kooky person on your live stream today. That was weird. But anyway, you ended up booting him though.
Oh yeah, I booted that weirdo. He was like, let daddy give you that good D. And I was like,
No D. No, sir.
yeah. I was like, no. First of all, I already got that. Second of all, I don't need you. Like,
Also, it's Monday in the middle of the day. Get out of here. Where are
I
you?
know. But I mean, like, no judgments. It is quarantine and people are getting desperate. So
Sure, that's fair. Yeah.
Well, we had Captain Sandy on a few weeks ago.
oh really? That's so much fun.
Yep. And we had the Queen of Versailles on Friday.
Wow.
So
Have you watched that documentary? Have you seen that, The Queen of Versailles?
No, I had my own live viewing when she came on our charter.
That's right. Oh my gosh. We talked to her about that. She said she's done a bunch of reality shows. She said that was the best show she ever did. The cast was so kind. Yeah.
Yeah, we loved her. Honestly, like, she's a bit kooky, but like, she's such a sweetheart.
Yes.
And like, she was so kind. And, I liked her because she liked my food. So
That's correct. She loved your food. Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, it's funny because Captain Sandy had the same thought about, you guys reaching out to people and coming on our show. So we are glad to have you. And
yeah, I'm happy
we're
to
going to talk a little bit about your recent fundraiser you just did. And then we'll talk about Below Deck and all the things. And we're going to dig deep and, just let us know if we've gone too far.
I'm strapping in for the ride. I'm excited. I'm just going to pour myself another glass of rosé.
Jonathan, may I start with a few questions about her background?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. Anastasia, you are vegan or vegetarian?
I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
I used to be vegan.
It's too hard, right?
Well, it's not that. It's just like, it was too hard for me when I was living in Sri Lanka.
Sure.
And I started not to feel very good. So I started introducing eggs back into my diet and I felt 100 times better.
Yeah.
So, my personal opinion is do what feels good for you while being mindful of the planet and, your impact spiritually, physically, like all that stuff. Just being aware. Like, I think sometimes the vegan movement can be a little too like on one side, but what I love about it is that it forces people to start having conversations with themselves. Like, where am I getting my eggs? Where am I getting my meat? Who am I actually supporting? So like, I love that about that movement, but I'm not like, if you're vegan, like you're the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
Just do what feels good and, keep the planet in mind.
So my wife and my stepdaughter are both vegetarian.
Cool.
And since we got together, I'm a vegetarian probably 99% of the time, trying to go completely vegetarian, but I have to always get enough protein in.
Yeah.
Because you are, I would say you're a foodie in the ways that matter the most as far as knowing how to eat and when. What's your main protein source as a vegetarian? You like what do you do?
So let's just talk about this whole protein thing
Please.
For the start. Okay, so back in the like 50s or 60s, there was a man who basically wanted more people to buy his product, and he came out to the government, the US government, saying that people needed an average of 150 grams of protein a day, which is completely false and completely wrong. Coming from somebody who used to work in the medical field, me, your body can only really physically process about 30 to 50 grams of protein a day, depending on your activity level, if you're a man or a woman, your genetics, whatever. So I think this whole protein thing is just such a farce, and it's such a like stupid thing to argue about. People make this argument like, oh, well, when we were cavemen, whatever. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to catch a deer in the wild? Like, these cavemen and whatever, they were not eating meat every day. Meat was a was a luxury. That's just something that, like, if they happened to catch an animal, then they would get it. Otherwise, they were getting all of their proteins from plants. And if you think of the animals that are the biggest on this world, what do they eat?
They're plant eaters.
Plants.
Yeah.
So, like, I just think this whole argument is just such stupidity and it's such bullshit. Like, okay, when you're a vegetarian, yes, you do need to get proteins, but you can get proteins from so many different sources, like avocados, broccoli, potato, tofu, eggs, like cheese. All of that stuff has protein in it. And, you know, if you eat a good, colorful diet, which you should be doing regardless of if you're vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, meat eater, doesn't matter. You should be eating a wide variety of things to be able to get all of the different amino acids, all the different vitamins that you need to be a healthy, sustaining person. So, like, this whole protein argument to me is just completely, like, stupid and bullshit. I'm like, if you ate a good diet, like, you would get enough protein, and your body would tell you if you weren't. So just, like, put an extra scoop of peanut butter in your smoothie. Like, you're going to be fine.
Well, I do think, most people feel better when they're eting fresh, not more protein.
100%.
So it's the processed stuff that gets you. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. You did a lot of that, incorporate a lot of that into the show and your cooking.
Yeah.
So do you
I love fresh ingredients. Like, nothing is better than a simple thing that you can present. Like, if you can showcase, an ingredient in their most, like, fresh form, like, that to me is being a really good chef. Like, you're taking something that is already beautiful by nature and presenting it in a way that's gorgeous and beautiful and fresh. And I think, like, that really speaks to, a true chef and, like, really being committed to food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, you can follow my Pinterest if you want to see, like, good, like, vegan, vegetarian recipes.
Oh, I will, because we always
pin a lot of those.
We eat too much of the same stuff at my house, but it's always good for us to watch out for our 10-year-old, so that's good.
Yeah.
So tell us, so obviously in the last season that is alive, but y'all are getting ready to go live Below Deck Med's getting ready to come live again with Spain, which the teasers are very good to get people excited about them.
I have anxiety just, like, watching the teasers. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just so happy.
So you watch it. You're interested in it. You'll watch it?
Oh, 100%. I gotta support my girl. Like,
there you go.
Hannah is my number one woman. Like, I have to support her 100%.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I love the show. I think it's entertaining and it's fun. Like, even if I'm not on it, like, it's still fun to watch.
Absolutely. Yep.
My friend Bree watches the show, and we were talking about you coming on our show today. And so her question was, what is the weirdest request that you've ever had on a charter?
Like, ever?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
That is a great question. The weirdest request. Honestly, like, I hate to say this, but, like, people are pretty, like, normal. I've, like, the worst guests we ever had were these women who would, like, get trashed ashore, and they would come back on the boat and just, like, demand things from us. They'd be like, bake us a cake, wash our feet, like, and then they'd be like, Anastasia, like, why do you have, like, we feel like we've done something to upset you. Like, what do we do to you? And I was like, you're the most terrible person I've ever met in my life. Like, what do you mean?
Can't tell you the truth. I just smile and nod. Yeah.
Yeah. But I couldn't say that. I was like, no, like, I'm so sorry if you feel that way. Like, I'm just doing my job, like, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I mean, for the most part, honestly, like, people are actually quite kind. And most people have worked really hard to be able to afford to go on these types of charters. And those are usually the people who are, like, super down to earth and, like, understand the struggle of, grinding it out and working and what it means to be in the service industry. So, like, most of the times, like, I know it's not, like, a fun answer, but most people are actually, like, very sweet and, like, very thankful every time you bring them anything. It's always please and thank you. And
That's
I mean,
good.
Yeah.
What, let's talk a little bit about, you just talked about the service industry. So tell us a little bit about the fundraiser you just did
Yes.
last week, and how much money did you raise and where did it go?
Yeah, so I'm so excited. I had this idea. Okay, so I've just been like selling my stuff like crazy. I just like want to get rid of everything.
Good
I
for
feel
you.
so cluttered in my home. I'm like, I gotta get rid of stuff. I gotta get it off my back. But I was like going through my things and I found all of my old Sirocco stuff. All my like uniform, my chef's coat, my black dress, like my polos. And I was like, you know what? This stuff is just collecting dust. And I bet there's somebody out there who would love to have this authentic gear, in their home. Like there's people who are obsessed with the Below Deck franchise.
Right.
And I was like, I bet somebody would pay like some really good money for this. And then, I was kind of talking to all my friends back home and stuff and how much they're struggling. All my friends are obviously in the restaurant industry. I've been in the restaurant industry since I was 14 years old. Before it was even legal to work. Like I was working under the table. And, those people are really struggling right now. And like those restaurant employees, those hospitality workers, those are the ones who make our weekends fun. Like when you go to a restaurant, when you go to a bar, when you do anything in that hospitality industry, it's always these people who are working the late shifts and depending on your tips.
Right.
So I just thought, I was like, you know what, I have stuff of value. I can't personally donate that much money because I don't have any, because I'm still in the hospitality industry, like making my own cafe and all that stuff. So like, I'm still broke as shit, but like, how can I give back?
Right.
So I had this idea to put all my stuff on a raffle, and I would sell raffle tickets, and 100% of the raffle ticket proceeds would be donated to the Restaurant Employee Relief Fund. And I did a live raffle. It was so much fun. Like people had such a good time. And I ended up raising $1,175 that I was able to donate in one lump sum to the Restaurant Employee Relief Fund. So like it really makes me feel good, because I mean, I'm just so ingrained in the hospital business, and I feel for all of those people, and just to be able to help a little bit it feels really good.
Your mom was a baker, right?
Yeah, so my mom was the head pastry chef in the Republic of Georgia, and she's also like a regular chef as well. She's one of those people who like opens the fridge and I look and I'm like, man, there's nothing to eat. We need to go shopping. She's like, give me 30 minutes. And then she like has this like crazy, meal on the table. So I've pretty much learned everything I know in the kitchen from my mom.
How did you obviously worked in the yachting industry and on boats forever? How did the order of events happen where you're working on this and then the Bravo approaches you about being on the show? How did that all happen?
So Bravo didn't approach me. Very Anastasia fashion. I went and got what I wanted. So I was working on yachts, whatever, and then my girlfriend, who was working in the same charter company that I was, she got approached by a casting director over Facebook, and she sent it to me. She screenshot it and was like, LOL, I would never do this, like ratchet shit. And I was like,
I would.
Yeah, literally, I was like, I would, okay? I am perfect. Because literally throughout my entire life, people have always been like, you should be on TV, or like, you should be an actress. Like, your personality is like insane. So, I friended the casting director and like sent him a video, and I was just like, hello, my name is Anastasia. I would be perfect for your show. These are all my talents. Cast me. And he was like, whoa, like you're perfect. Let's do this. So I went through about like 8 months of interviews. There'd be months that would go by and I wouldn't hear from them. And I'd be like, oh, I didn't get it. And then they'd be like, hey, can you interview with our executive producer? And I'm like, oh my God, okay.
What? Yeah.
I know. It was a crazy process. And then, in the end, they actually ended up offering me 2 shows, Below Deck Med and Below Deck Sailing, but I chose Med because it was just a more established show.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I want to do the Med. Like, I think it'd be really fun to work on a super yacht. I've always been in sailing, so like I think it'd be cool to like make that change. So yeah, I mean, it was just me pretty much like manifesting what I want in life, which is what I always do. Like I'm not somebody who, went to the Cape on the weekends with my family and like was sailing all the time. Like I grew up in like, a middle class, like low income, like immigrant family. Like if I want something, like I just go for it. Cause most people will just say yes.
Right. You had no idea going on to the show that you end up being the chef.
Fuck no, that is not what I wanted to do. Like,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. Can I swear on this?
Yep.
No?
You're
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to be the stew because it's A, an easy job, and B, like it's just so much fun being in the interior. And the chef is like a really, really hard, stressful position.
Yes.
And you know, when they told me I was going to be the chef, like at first it wasn't really a choice because like we were in a bad spot, like I needed to step up, and like that was fine. And then Captain Sandy gave me the choice. She was like, oh, after the second charter I did as chef, she gave me a choice of being like, hey, like I personally think you're doing really well, and I've worked with a lot of super yacht chefs, and I think you're great. So I was like, all right, my captain thinks I'm awesome. You know, these last 2 charter groups have thought my food is amazing, and this is a big pay bump. So hell yeah, I want to do it. Like, I'm gonna try. And so many people gave me shit for taking the promotion, and I was like, okay, either you come from like a really well-off family and you don't understand what it is to struggle for money, but like I don't. And when someone offers you thousands of extra dollars to do something that your superior says they think you're really good at,
why would you
take that opportunity?
Absolutely.
So of course I took it. Of course I tried. And yeah, it didn't end up being, you know, what we all thought it was going to be, but it's fine. Like, at least I tried, and, you know, I gave it my best effort. It was very apparent that I just needed some more experience in order to be in a position like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely. I thought it was cool too that you like really contemplated it, and like I thought the scenes where you were like on the phone with your mom, you were like, what am I doing? I was like,
I love that.
That's so me. I would be like, what's happening right now?
Yeah. It's so funny because so many people were like, oh, you were such a cocky bitch and like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, do you understand what I was doing? I was trying to fool myself into thinking that I could do this like crazy thing. Like, I had to call my mom, I had to call my boyfriend, I had to call everybody to be like, I can't do this. Like, and they were like, you can do it. So like in the interviews and stuff, I had to be like, yeah, I'm the chef. Like, I can do it. No problem. But on the inside, I was like, you're terrible. You're stupid.
You're not
you suck.
You're the worst.
You know? Just like take your chef's knife and stab yourself. Like, it's morbid, but like, you know, I was in such a dark place.
Tell me quickly, sorry, Jonathan, when you were on the show and then it came out and the show started airing, did you watch immediately, or were you like, I'm not going to watch it? Were you definitely going to watch it? Were you nervous?
Oh God, I definitely watched it. I was like, I need to know what's going to happen, how they portrayed me, like what they edited out, what they left in. Like, I needed to know everything. I have so many castmates who were like, yeah, I didn't watch it after like the first episode, blah, blah.
Wow.
I'm like a very, as you can tell, very like type A, need to know basics kind of person. So like, I mean, even when I knew I was going to be on the show, I watched every single episode of every single season before, because I was like, I need to know what I'm getting myself into. Right. Whereas Aisha, for example, she's like, oh, I never saw the show or like really watched any of our episodes. Yeah. I mean, typical Aisha though, like she's so like whatever. Yeah. For her, she's like, I don't care. But me, I'm like totally on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, needed to know every detail before I said yes.
And did you like how they portrayed you?
I mean, there was definitely times where I'm like, I wish they showed me like being nicer, and I wish they showed me when I apologized for being snappy, or like, you know, like for example, they like made it seem like I hated June, which I really didn't. And like there was like the crew day out when we went to Monaco, June and I literally like went off and frolicked on our own for like 2 hours. We like nuzzled in a chair and fell asleep together. Like, you know what I mean? Like there were so many sweet moments where, I don't know, like that I wish were shown, but you know, like at the end of the day, it's whatever. And if people think I'm a cocky bitch, then like, I don't really care. I don't care what they think, which wasn't always the case. Like, it took me some time to like not listen to what people were saying about me online. But at the end of the day, I know who I am. My family knows who I am. My friends love me for who I am. And that's all that matters.
Well, we clearly love you, and you have a clearly.
I love you guys.
huge fan base that loves you as well, because the second that we posted that you were coming on our show, our Instagram has been like on fire of like, oh my God. And all my friends are like,
Yay.
how are you landing her? What is happening? We're like, she's so nice and so awesome to have us with you.
Thank
So
you.
we're grateful to have you.
I'm really like, it's funny too, because like when Colin and I did like our watch party, so many people came and they were like, oh my God, like you're so cool in person. We thought you were gonna be like whatever. And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, you can't, if you're judging me from like a 45-minute edited reality TV show, then like you need to like rethink what you're doing with your life. Because like the thing is like we're all people and we all make mistakes. And, you know, we're putting ourselves out there for your entertainment. And, you know, people just need to take things so much more lightly. Like everyone gets their panties in a bunch. And I'm like, guys, it's reality TV. Like you cannot look too much into it.
Well, the other thing is you all have like real life stuff that's happening and you still have a job.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
exactly.
So my question for you is, so I've watched the whole thing and looked at the last night when you guys were all out to dinner.
Yeah.
And Aisha like made that cut at Captain Sandy and I was like, ooh. And it was just like one of those moments of like, is this like for the show or is this like real? Like, what was that moment like?
Here's the thing. Anything Aisha Scott does is real. Like that girl is unapologetically herself. And that is why her, Hannah, and I get along so well, because like we do not care. Like this is what you see is what you get. And that's why I love her and Hannah so much, because they just don't care and they say what's on their mind. And I think more people should be like that. And to be fair, like Hannah was working her ass off, and it's not necessarily that like Captain Sandy didn't give like us personally enough, you know, compliments. It's that she was coming down on Hannah for the most stupid shit ever. And we never got a complaint from guests. It was always like interior, service was amazing. Like never once did we have a guest complain about us. Right. So that's why it was kind of just like, where is this coming from? Like, why are you choosing to pick on us? Like, look at your deck team, okay? Like, look at your deck team. And then freaking Jack was always getting all these compliments. And we're like, you've just given Jack a cookie for waking up. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Because of his accent. He fell for his accent.
Yeah. I know, that's the thing. He gets away with everything because he's cute and his accent's fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I love him and everything's fine. But like, it was just like, what the hell? Like, why are you coming down on us when we literally have done nothing wrong? Captain Sandy was mad because I didn't set the table like 2 hours before the guests had gotten up.
That's right.
And literally, like, as she's starting to yell at me, you see, like, I have the stuff in my hands to go and do it.
Right.
And it was, the guests had went to bed at 4 a.m. I'm like, they're not gonna be awake at 8, okay? No. Like, it's just not gonna happen. Right. So, like, and, you know, the boat was messy. Like, Aisha, poor thing, had tried to clean as much as she could before she went to bed. But the poor girl went to bed at 4:30 in the morning. So she left a few things for me to do, which is completely fine. So I just had a little bit of extra to get through. And then I started the table 2 hours before breakfast was even supposed to be a thing, which they didn't even get up for that breakfast time. Yeah. And was the table spectacular? Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So my whole family, we love the show, and we have 2 kids, 10 and 13, and their biggest questions are typically how you guys deal with the lack of sleep. I mean, I don't know how you personally do with lack of sleep. I am a holy terror if I don't get my sleep. So how do you deal with it?
No, I'm a monster. Like, it's terrible. It's honestly terrible. But the thing is, it's like, we're filming for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You know?
So you
can do anything for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, like if we needed to get a little bit of extra break or something and like it wasn't too hectic, if I went to Hannah and just said, listen, like I'm completely like flat out, like I need an extra hour today, she'd be like, go ahead. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it helped that like we were such a tight-knit team and we all did help each other, interior and exterior. So
on the show, that was a point of contention with the boys.
Yeah, so annoying.
That was brought up a bunch of times. So was that really brought up on like in like real life, or was that just something a part of the show, or was that like a real contention?
Like the interior being so lovey? Is that where you're talking about?
Like you guys are like what's his name? Joao.
Joao.
all the time, like, oh, the interior, well, you guys are going to sleep or you're taking a nap, or like he always.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Joao. Like you, first of all, you have one more person on your team than we do, and that comes down to your management style. You're the one who controls the breaks. You're the one who controls the sleeping schedule. So like if your guys are not doing well with what you're doing, then you need to change it.
Right.
Simple as that.
Next.
Like Hannah figured out how we could all like do our breaks and, you know, do our jobs. Like there was only 3 of us girls.
Right.
So sorry, like that's it.
And I would say too,
Yeah.
Hannah historically gets so much crap from
Yeah.
fans and from other people on the show and people
She
that work
does.
for her. Why do you think that you and she connected so well and work so well together and are still friends?
Because she's a no-nonsense bitch. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. She is a woman who stays true to herself. If you can do your job well without having to have your hand held, then you're going to do fine. And
Right.
Hannah is one of the most loyal friends I have ever had in my life. Like, she will go to hell and back for you, like, if you're one of her girls. Like, Hannah had my back so much during the season, and so did Aisha. You know, even when we had our little, like, moments of bickering or whatever, like, it never lasted. You know, it was always like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just stressed out. And then the other girl would be like, no problem. I love you. Can I get you a glass of rosé? Which is what it should be like.
Right.
And, like, I think people are just really sensitive, and you can't be sensitive in the yachting industry.
So what happened? So what do you think was the difference with June when June came in? Is it because she came in mid-charter?
I think with June, like, she had a really hard time opening up. And when you live in that kind of environment, like, you have to be able to be an open book while also having, like, a cockroach shell.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to just, like, get in there and, like, be like, yep, I'm here. What can I do? Let me do my job well, and also, like, have really good banter with everybody.
Right.
So I think June really struggled with that because, you know, she was going through a lot of things personally. And, you know, it's hard being the new girl on the boat. And, like, for me, I couldn't really give her that maybe attention or guidance that she needed because I was going through my own, you know, headspace of just, like, I didn't like know what I was doing. And okay. My mom's getting her hair colored. She's like, I'm taking a shower.
Oh,
Okay.
great. Good to know.
Thank you.
Hi, Mom.
So I think it was hard for her. And, like, they show me being, like, such a bitch to her, but, like, there was so many moments where I was like, hey, by the way, the best way to deal with Hannah is to do this, this, and this. It's better if you don't say this, this, and this. This is how you do these things. And of course, like, they don't show that stuff, but you know, like, I tried. I just, like, wasn't best friends with her because she came in a point where I was barely even able to be friends with myself, let alone, like, somebody else.
Right.
So for you on the season, who were your favorites or most memorable charter guests that you were like, gosh, that was an adventure?
My favorite charter guests were probably the very first guest that we had on the boat, which was Jay. He is such a lovely man, so sweet. Him and all his friends were so nice. They were even, like, nice about Mila's trash food, like, which really speaks to, like, the kind of people they were. And
Her food was terrible.
I don't even.
I can't
When
even.
she made those nachos, I was literally like, I am not a chef and I can make those nachos.
I can't with the nachos. That was the best. Oh
I was like, this is cordon bleu food. I'm like, I could be a fucking professor at cordon bleu if, like, this is what you're putting out. Like,
I also loved, I don't know who it was that was like, I'm not serving this to the guests.
Yeah.
Hannah, because
I was like,
she
no.
knows.
No,
Yeah,
ma'am.
she was like, fuck no. Yeah, Hannah and Aisha both refused to, like, take dishes out because her food was so terrible.
It was incredible.
She had a very tenuous, I don't know if it was like after the first charter when y'all all went out.
Yeah.
Her and Travis really got into it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
like all you guys.
That's right.
I mean, it's just so stupid. She's like, I'm from Russia and this is how we think. I'm like, shut up. Like, my mom is from the Republic of Georgia. Do you think that it was cool to be openly gay where in her USSR, like, Soviet 50s upbringing? No, but you know what? She's still not a gay basher like you are. So
no excuse.
yeah, it's no excuse. Like, she's like, people don't cry. I'm like, okay, go back to Siberia and play in the snow. Like, nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Queen of Versailles, Jackie Siegel, told us that she is going back on Below Deck in September. Did you know that?
Not surprised.
She said that her husband's going with her, David. Super nice. Yeah, but she said, I don't know if I can say this, but I said, are you going back on, Sirocco? And she said, I can't say. So that was interesting to us. But she said she loved being on charter with y'all, just loved it.
Yeah, she was honestly like, we were all really nervous. I was really nervous because I was like, fuck, like the Queen of Versailles, this woman's like a billionaire.
Yeah,
She's probably had like the best food in the world. But I mean, luckily, like she loved everything that I did, and like she really cared about making a connection with the crew, which was really like sweet. And like, I don't know, they show a few scenes of her that like I don't really think like speak to who she is as a person. Like she's actually like she's a kooky woman, but like she's so sweet, and she really cares about people and people's stories, and she gives everybody the time of day, and I thought she was lovely.
Yep.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, she with us on the show, I mean, she was very open and transparent. Yeah. And I mean, we ask everybody, hey, is there anything that's off limits? Just like we asked you. And she was like, pretty much similar to you. No, you can pretty much ask me anything. And so, no, I thought that was cool. And then she gave was it Asia the ring?
No, she gave June the ring.
Oh, June the ring.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just, that was an interesting interaction. So you said,
I think it was really sweet. Like June lost her dad and she lost her son or her daughter. And, that's something that they really connected with. And like when we released like the lanterns, they didn't show, but like she gave all of us like a lantern and for us to write a note to somebody who we had lost in our lives. And it really like stirred up a lot of things. And I think it was just so sweet that she, wanted all of us to be involved. And it was just a really cool like bonding moment.
Yeah. Well, so I grew up sailing. So this was your first motor yacht.
Yeah.
So you prefer sailing or motor yacht?
I mean, I don't know. Like the thing is my background is in sailing. Like I love it. I love the adventure. I love the thrill of turning off the engines and just like being like full sail ahead.
Right.
And also I feel like the yachts that I was on were a much more intimate experience than the motor yachts. For sailing, it's just you get a more like chilled, laid back, like adventurous kind of group compared to the super motor yachts, which is a more like, I want to be in a hotel on the water.
Right.
So I don't know, like they're both fun, but with sailing, I just feel like you get to be more yourself and like you get to become part of the vacation and you're part of the fun.
Yeah.
So I kind of like it more.
That's fair.
So the show wraps, right? And you finish and you go home or go wherever you go and the season's over. What is the lag time between when the show wraps and then all of a sudden you're on TV? And then are you freaking out in the in-between stages?
Yeah, it's funny because like you kind of just forget about it.
Yeah.
So like you forget about everything that happened. You get over all the arguments and whatever. Like you just don't give a shit anymore. And then all of a sudden June comes around and they're like, the season's starting.
Yeah.
And you have to relive, everything that happened. And it's just funny because like, obviously it's the first time for all the fans seeing the stuff and they all have these opinions. And it's just like, oh, fuck, like, I don't give a shit about that anymore. Like, I don't care. For me, like after the show finished filming, I had 2 weeks where I went home, packed my bags, and then I moved to Sri Lanka and I opened my own business. Like I was very focused on what I was doing and, my own thing. So like when the show started airing, I was like, oh God.
What was your experience on Watch What Happens Live? How was that for you?
Oh my God. So much fun. It's actually crazy. The first Watch What Happens Live I did was like 2 weeks into the show, like even being on air. And Hannah had invited me as her guest just to come and watch her because it was so cool and like it was so new for me. For her, she'd done it a million times. And I told somebody in Bravo, I was like, hey, I just want to check in to make sure like it's okay if I'm there like as an audience member. I just, want to be there to watch. And they were like, yeah. And then 2 days later, they were like, actually, will you go on the show with Hannah?
Yes.
And I was like, what?
Yes, I will.
Yeah. So it was so much fun just like being in the city with Hannah and like being able to be on Annie Cohen. I actually got to go on twice, which was so cool. Like it's so fun to get like glammed up and yeah, just like be on Annie Cohen. It goes by so fast. It's like 30 minutes and it's over. And you know, he's a very busy man, so he's just like bah, 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 then it's done and all the lights are off and you're like, whoa. What just happened? But it's so cool. Like you get your own dressing room. They give you these little cupcakes with like your picture on them, and
I hope you took pictures of all that stuff.
and they're in my freezer. My mom obviously kept them.
Yes, you kept them. Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Were you a Bravo fan before you got on the show? Like, were you?
No.
Okay.
I didn't watch TV. I had been sailing for the last like 4 years. Like I didn't have TV. I didn't like watch any sort of television, but my mom and my dad, they loved reality TV. And when I started yachting, my mom was always like, you should be on Below Deck, like blah blah blah, blah. And I was always like, I would never go on that show. Like it's not real, like blah blah. And then, you know, when I started talking to the casting director, I told my mom and she was like I told you, like this is gonna be so much fun. So she obviously was just like freaking out. And you know how they play like your family, like, you know, oh, I started cooking with my mom. So when my mom's photos were like,
man,
she literally was like, oh, I mean, it's an old photo, like, but, you know,
I'm on Below Deck.
Oh my God, she literally shared. Anybody I speak to who knows my mom, they're like, oh, she told me you're on the show. I'm like, I'm sure she's told everybody that I'm on the show. Like she's so proud. And my dad too. Like they're so funny. They love Bravo and they love Below Deck.
I know they're so proud of you too. That's amazing.
Yeah. They are.
Good.
They're like, you look like a bitch sometimes, but we still love you. I'm like, well, you already knew I was a bitch. So
I've gotten that from my parents before too. It's a compliment. It's fine. Yeah.
Would you go back on if they asked you?
Oh, for sure. 100%. It's so much fun. It's like, it's such an out of the box experience. And, you know, you do learn a lot about yourself when you watch yourself back like that. And, you know, for me, I learned that I don't handle stress well. And that I need to, you know, be nicer to people and I need to, you know, maybe work on the way that I speak to people and the things that immediately come out of my mouth. Because to me, I'm very blunt and very forward. And sometimes it's not the best way to go about things. So I definitely had a lot of like self-reflection after watching that season. But then I also learned like, I am a badass. Like I did it. You know, I stepped into a 55-meter yacht galley and I gave it my all. And not a lot of people could have done that. So like, I give myself a lot of credit for stepping out of my comfort zone and, you know, really like just stepping up.
So question, when you guys were watching the season, did you text your castmates and be like, oh, remember this happening? Or
it's so funny because we got to see things that were happening on other parts of the boat that we had no idea were going on.
Oh, nice.
So there would be times where I would text, you know, Jack or Colin or Aisha or whoever and just be like, are you serious? Like, did this really happen? Like, that's crazy. Because you're so zoned in when you're working. Like, you don't know what's going on deck. You don't know what's happening in the galley. You don't know what, you know, Captain Sandy is mad about. Like, you're just so in your own world. So like, it's fun for us to watch the show too. Cause I'm like, oh, I didn't know all these things were happening.
That's right. So what projects do you have coming up next? Like, what are you doing when this whole, you know, COVID-19 allows us to have life back to normal? What will you be doing?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, my business is shut down. I have a cafe and yoga studio in Sri Lanka called Ajna. And we're shut down for the summer, which we would be anyway. So like, it's not anything like crazy. It's just a low season. So for the summer, I've decided to stay back home in Vermont and just be with my family and like reconnect with my friends and stuff. I don't know. I just feel this really big pull to be home. Last summer, I was doing all these crazy things. I was all over Europe, yachting and this and that. I'm tired.
Yes.
I just want to stay home and, you know, garden with my mom, like go play golf with my dad and just like, I don't know, like be with my parents. I just feel like they're getting older. I'm getting older. And like, I've just had such a nomadic lifestyle for the last like 4 or 5 years that it's hard. Like you lose a lot of connections living
and to have a minute to breathe.
lifestyle. Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Okay,
want to be home.
I have a question, and this is a typical, or I guess a trend right now. Did Carol
Yeah.
Baskins kill her husband?
Here's what I think.
Oh.
I think that her husband is in Costa Rica or somewhere like that. I don't think she killed him. I think that that little fucker ran off and was like, my wife is just crazy enough that people will think she killed me.
Ooh, that is
I
an
think,
interesting
I
perspective.
think he is a manipulative man who definitely ran away and is living the typical like white man lifestyle in Costa Rica.
I like your
Right there.
perspective. That's very
Yeah.
different from what everybody else would say.
Yeah.
I
Well,
buy
of
it.
course, everyone's going to jump on the band like, yeah, she killed him. But like, that is such a typical thing of our society to think like women are crazy and they kill their husbands, whatever. You know what? Motherfucker probably needed to be murdered, but I don't think she did it. I think he's in Costa Rica, like banging some little cutie and doing his thing.
Costa Rican, yeah.
Probably. Do you
Yeah.
think that Joe Exotic should be released from jail?
Absolutely not. I hate what he does to animals. I am such an animal advocate. Like I saved this. I don't know how he got back in here, but there's another hornet in my room. I don't kill animals. I hate spiders. I hate bugs, but I never kill them. I always release them back. I hate when people exploit animals. Like I see people riding elephants. I see people riding like camels and stuff. Like I never do that shit because I just think that is a living, breathing organism with a soul and they have emotions. You know, I've had pets my whole life and I know that they're very emotional creatures. And I don't like when people exploit animals for their own financial gain. Like go get a regular job and make enough money, go on a safari in Africa and help them conserve their natural habitat. Like go be a good person. Like, oh, well, I want my children to see what a tiger looks like. Okay, well, you know what? Too bad. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, your own personal entertainment has nothing to do with, you know, that animal having to live in a concrete cage. Like, all of us have felt what it's like to be in quarantine. Guess what? That's what it's like for animals who live in a zoo. So that needs to give you some perspective of, I never go to zoos. I don't support any of that kind of thing. Like, not anywhere. Yeah. I don't care. And if there's a rehabilitation center, that's fine. Take care of the animals if you need to, but like I don't think you should be making any financial gain off of exploiting that animal by letting like little kids, 1,000 little children like touch something every day. Like that's not good for an animal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we are super thankful that you took the time to talk with us today.
Yeah, of course. I had so much fun.
Jonathan, is there anything else that we wanted to talk to Anastasia about before we let her go and live her life? Because she's been on Zoom calls and Instagram
You've been on
lives.
everything for the last like 3 hours.
I know.
Oh, thank you so much for being on. We'd love to maybe try and get your other friends to come hang out with us, and maybe you can join us with them. And
yeah, for sure.
Do like a big group show. So thank you for being with us. We'll stop recording here and then we'll go live real quick and just say hi to everybody on our Facebook.
Okay.
All right.
That's good.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Stop.